Okay, I'm going to go through a few things real fast, hopefully, but it's about our flat Earth model. Fundamentally, from the start, our flat Earth model is better than the heliocentric model. I'll give three main reasons. We have a container for water. Water needs a container and always seeks level. So we have a container, our surface is level because it's 70-something% water. Gas pressure needs a container. We have a container for gas pressure. The heliocentric model does not. Light needs a container, a medium, and a charge. We have all of that in this model. So not only do we have the container for water, the container for gas, we also have the container and the medium and the charge from our toroidal field, our electromagnetic field, that causes the lights in the ceiling. Whereas the heliocentric model has none of that. So from the start, fundamentally, our model is better. Now, let's get into the superfluid ceiling. People are like, oh, it's silly, you guys have to invoke a superfluid ceiling to keep your model alive and make this thing work. Okay, it's silly that the globe has to claim all kinds of pseudoscience nonsense like dark matter and dark energy, neither of which can be proven, tested, seen, touched, created, any of that. It's all just this concept to keep the heliocentric model alive, because if they don't exist, the heliocentric model can't work. All right? So you can't reproduce dark matter or dark energy. We can reproduce a superfluid in a lab. And the superfluid suspends itself in the top of its container, creating a level surface just like water does, except it's suspended in the top. So as below, so above. You have the superfluid layer suspended in the top. The interesting thing about the superfluid layer suspended in the top is not only does it create another seal within inside the seal, from that seal upwards is superionized gases in a superfluid state. You hit those with an electromagnetic charge and you get light. So we have the container, within the container, the medium, and the charge that gives us light. Also, the level superfluid ceiling, because it suspends itself in its container and creates a level surface across, gives us our second Gaussian surface. So we have horizontal lines of equipotential voltage in our realm, and we have one Gaussian surface being our block wall within the toroidal field, or the plane of inertia, or the dielectric plane, whatever people want to call it. And then we have our second Gaussian surface, which is our superfluid ceiling. That allows for our horizontal lines of equipotential voltage. Leaps and bounds ahead of your heliocentric model. We're leaps and bounds ahead of your heliocentric model. Not understanding how the attenuation of light would work in a system like this is not anybody's fault. It's just lack of true education. We've been indoctrinated to believe in a silly, tilted, wobbly, spinny space pair that's covered in water. And that's just silly and ridiculous. I'm not trying to insult anybody. I believed it my whole life until I realized, hey, it doesn't work, and I had to admit it and move on. And now I've moved on to trying to model our sky. So for people who are wanting to try to straw man and say, oh, you guys have said that the lights in the ceiling don't determine the floor, now you're saying the lights in the ceiling prove the floor, that is not a claim. That is a straw man that you're making. We are modeling the ceiling. We already know the floor is level. Now we're trying to model the ceiling. The floor is level. We're trying to model the ceiling. And we're doing a darn good job of it, because now we can explain the 24-hour sun. We can explain the apparent sun. We can explain star trails. There's a lot we can explain now. Do we need to get better and better? Yes. Do we need to refine it more and more? Yes, we do. But fundamentally, off the jump, our model is already leaps and bounds ahead of the heliocentric model, which is sad, because the heliocentric model, according to heliocentrists, have had thousands of years and all the backing financially that they could possibly have, and they still can't prove it. As a matter of fact, it's been falsified. We falsified the radius. You falsify the radius of the sphere, you falsify the model. That's not all we falsified. We falsified many other things. But again, fundamentally, from the start, we have the container for water. We have the container for gas. We have the container and the medium and the charge that gives us light. And we can reproduce our superfluid that you're saying is silly for us to invoke, whereas you can't reproduce dark matter or dark energy. I could go a lot deeper, but I'm going to kind of leave it at that. I just really want people to wake up and know truth. We don't live on a spinning, tilted, wobbling, corkscrewing, pear-shaped water ball with a pressurized gaseous atmosphere next to a near perfect vacuum. I really don't think most people understand. There is not one motion in this scenario. Not only is the Earth spinning on its axis at roughly 1,038 or 1,039 miles an hour, it varies a little bit on what people Google search or whatever. And not only that, that's at the equator. So like above and below the equator, that changes to where at your poles you're technically moving at 0 miles per hour. And then not only that, you're supposedly orbiting the sun at 66,600 miles an hour, while chasing the sun at almost 500,000 miles an hour, while moving with the Milky Way at 1.2 million miles per hour. There is no such thing as constant uniform motion in this heliocentric or barycentric model. There is no, the only motion is the sky above us, and that's caused by the toroidal field in the ether and electromagnetism, and the electric spectrum and electromagnetic spectrum. Another thing we have is we actually have an up and down. The heliocentric model doesn't even have an up and down. It's all relative. It's so sad that we ever fell for this, that it's heartbreaking. And right here in this picture, you can see day and night, how this realm can have day and night. Is it perfect yet? No, I'm still working on that. Gonna get it better, I promise you. But I think I'm just going to leave it at that. That's a lot to kind of take in, but our model from the start is most definitely fundamentally leaps and bounds ahead of the heliocentric lie that we've been told since birth. God bless everybody. Hope y'all enjoy this, because I sure enjoy doing it.